So welcome everyone. My name is Kristen Nisbet White, and it is my privilege to be with you all today and a dream team of collaborators who are going to be sharing with you today about Career Connect, now powered by Handshake, and how that's going to look and operate from the student employment perspective and how you can engage. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So just an outline of what we're going to discuss in our session today is a little bit about what is Handshake and how Handshake can help students getting started as a campus employer, how to post a job, and then the next steps of applications, interviews, and hiring, and then managing your opportunities, and a big plug for the Foot in the Door fair that's happening in about 3 weeks. Oh my goodness, on August 25th, but Thursday, August 25th from 3 to 5. But as an opportunity to share opportunities with students for campus jobs, as well as internships, part-time volunteer opportunities. And then we'll have some time for questions at the end. Just as a preface, I should say, we are now just a month into using this system. So we are learning along with everyone, and we are discovering new features and pieces of the system every day. So please know that we are learning right along with you. And as you have questions and different challenges related to it, we want to be aware of that, because that's feedback that's helpful for us as we're continuing to learn and work with our vendor on the system to make sure it meets the needs of our campus and how we want to use it. So a little bit to get us started, what is Handshake and how Handshake helps students? So Handshake has become the nation's #1 college to career network. And I will say, in working in career services for a number of years, I've never heard a platform like this mentioned by name by employers or people in general. I think others like, yeah, it's your system, it's your job board, but I feel like Handshake has gotten some name recognition and quickly become a platform that a lot of schools and universities are using. It is partnered with schools and employers from across the country. So again, you can see some stats there in terms of its reach in connection to higher education institutions, students and alumni, and employers. Handshake at UIS, as I mentioned, we are new on this journey. So we launched at the beginning of July. And already we have over 900 employers connected with our campus, and currently over 1,400 jobs that are posted with us. And hopefully those numbers will continue to grow as we gain footing in the system. All currently registered students, so students that are registered for classes, have accounts already in the system. So there's a connection with Banner, and that information gets fed into Career Connect. And so students just need to log in and claim their account, and they can do that via a single sign-on, which is very exciting. So for students, their credentials will be, again, the same as they use for their email or any other UIS platform. So they can use the single sign-on. Students have the ability to create a profile, and the system becomes smarter with the more information students share. So in terms of what they're interested in, what types of things that they're looking for, the system will then recommend certain types of positions or certain types of employers that are in the system based on how students build their profile. And students with a complete profile are more likely to get contacts. So one of the things that Handshake has really promoted is that their mission is to really democratize opportunity and connect folks no matter where you are, who you know, what experience you have. And so there are abilities for employers to engage with students, to send messages, for students to send messages, ask questions. And so those are some features that, again, we're just beginning to take note of and explore, but some things that are a little bit different from the previous system that we used. So getting started as a campus employer in Handshake, I'm going to pass it over to Rob, and he's going to take on this next section.
Muted. You can't hear me while I'm muted. So okay. So let me start off again. So whether you have already established an account in Handshake or not, if you have not, your first step would be to establish an account with Handshake. And what you're really going to do is you're going to be identifying what organization you're affiliating with, And in this case, the organization that you're wanting to affiliate with is University of Illinois Springfield Student Employment. You're going to see there's a number of different versions of that. There's going to be more than one University of Illinois Springfield option, but the one you want to choose is University of Illinois Springfield Student Employment. What that will do when you put in your initial application is it will send a queue to a number of us, but in particularly in this case, it'll be sent a queue to Jay to confirm that you are indeed a contact for this organization, and she will review that and give you the green light. Once you have the green light, you are then officially a account member as part of the UIS Student Employment Organization, and it allows you then to be able to post positions and things like that. The only other pieces I want to mention before moving on to the next section is it's very important that you're identifying the right employment. Others might see you assigned to a different section or category, and they may give you the green light. But if it's not, if you're not connected with University of Illinois Springfield Student Employment, then you'll need to get registered through that organization. I'm putting the organization in air quotes because it's we're operating as though it is its own separate company, like we would treat or work with any other company. So I just want to reiterate the importance of registering with that particular affiliation so that then you're able to put job opportunities onto the system through student employment. I think that's generally everything that falls under my category. You'll get a welcome aboard notice, and that will allow you then to be able to identify, one, you'll be able to see what other opportunities and positions within student employment have already been posted, but therefore you'll also see it that there's a queue there as to how you want to select the employment that you want to post. And I'm bleeding into the next topic, but be aware that you can select student employment internship, but you can only make one of those choices. So be very intentional about what it is your position you're posting for. So and by the way, it's also gives you the opportunity then to also register for the Foot in the Door Fair, so that then you can be affiliated and connected, and we can ensure that we've got a table for you. That's my last pitch.
And just while we're still on the slide, one other thing. So, and Rob mentioned this, but you can, once you're connected to the University of Illinois Springfield, the student employment employer, you can actually see all the positions that are posted currently under that umbrella. So you'll see those from other offices and departments as well as your own. But there is an opportunity to post a job or register an event as a division, is what it's called in Handshake. So that can be set up for your particular office area if you'd like to be able to sort positions just by your office area, or register for an event just as your office or department area, and not as the whole umbrella employer. So there's some nuances that we'll be navigating as we continue to move forward. So the next step is to talk about how to post a job. So I think some of those on this call have already navigated that. So well done, and would love to hear how that worked out for you. But we're just going to do some highlights in terms of what that job form looks like. So the job posting form has some pieces on there that are some things that are probably going to look familiar to you from what was happening in our previous system, but there's also some pieces that are new. So one of those things is there is this option if you're open to speaking with interested candidates. So at this point, we haven't really fully experimented too much with that. So it is very optional. If you do say yes, the system would prompt you to create a schedule of when you'd be available to connect with students so they could sign up for times to meet with you. So if that's something that you want to experiment with, you certainly could. But at this point, if that seems overly complicated, or again, we're just not quite sure how that's going to work out for folks, you can say no and just move forward with your position. That doesn't mean that students can't contact you or reach out to you by email or other ways, but this would be specifically contact. If you said yes, it would mean contacting you and scheduling something through the Handshake platform, which you may or may not be comfortable with. So again, at this point, there's so many features added in with the system that I think we'll continue to explore and navigate and try to come up with some recommendations and best practices for how it works in the wild on our campus. But that's something that you might notice as you're going through the job form. That's an optional piece. Some other important ones, making sure you're clear about the hourly rate and connecting in terms of standards. And Jay's going to talk a little bit more about student employment and specific pieces there. One of the other sections is about, you have the option, if you'd like to allow for remote work, you can check that as a checkbox. You don't have to, that's an optional piece. It does ask in terms of US work authorization. Typically, that would be something you'd need to say yes to, but then in terms of eligibility, if you're willing to sponsor or if you're willing to hire someone that's temporarily authorized, you can clarify there. But typically this would be a yes for all positions that would be on campus to say yes in terms of work authorization. Similar to our previous system, you can require particular documents to be part of the application. So usually a resume as default, but if you want to ask for, again, a transcript, if you're wanting to ask students to upload a class schedule or other pieces, you can put, select that kind of other documents option. You can customize that to what you need. And then there's also a section in the job form in terms of, any particular filtering or kind of pieces that you want to connect to your position. But this blue box at the top is really clear that even if students do not meet the criteria that you select in this section, they'll still have the opportunity to apply, but then you can filter them after that based on what you put in. So again, if you're looking for a particular class year or particular majors, you can preference that in the system, but there's still going to be the opportunity for students, even if they don't meet those requirements, to be able to apply, but you can filter those applications as an employer once you get to that point. So another big piece that a lot of folks like to be mindful of is notification. So knowing when a student applies or getting a packet of everyone who applied when your position closes or expires. So you have those options to select on the job form. So you can ask, you can check for a summary. Again, when the position closes of all the applicants that applied, you can also select for an email every time a student applies if you'd like more regular notifications during the window that it's open. And you can also preface just to only send applicants that meet all preferences. So if you did put some preferences in those fields, you can filter it in terms of the email notices that you get that way. One of the other pieces, if you're posting the job, but someone else should be receiving those emails or notifications, so you're posting on behalf of maybe someone else in your office or area, you can choose a different recipient. So it's going to populate with you, the person that's posting the job, but you can choose another recipient to receive those notifications. However, they do need to be employer contact in that University of Illinois Springfield student employment employer to be in that drop-down menu. So if they don't have an account, they need to be created as a contact. And you can see there is a link here that says you can create a new contact. So if they're not in that menu, you could add them with their name and email and some information to get them connected that way. All right, so one of the other pieces, and this is probably more relevant and popular with external employers, and makes things a little confusing on the on-campus employment end, but you can post positions in Handshake to multiple campuses at one time. However, for anything that we're putting under this umbrella as student employment, we really only want things to be posted here at the University of Illinois Springfield. So when you are choosing where this job posting is going, please just only select our campus. Right now, the University of Illinois at Chicago is also in our menu, and we're trying to figure out if we can remove that or not. There may be particular cases with our UIC nursing students here that maybe that would be helpful to have that. But again, generally just connecting to our campus for anything that is an on-campus employment position. And that is kind of the basic overview there, again, of the job posting form and what you might encounter. But again, we'll be happy to help address specific questions as they come up. But now it is my honor to introduce Jay Greer to take us through the next section. So Jay, take it away.
Hello. So everything is kind of the same, but a little bit different as far as the applications and the interviewing and the paperwork. When you all are posting your positions, you can select your expiration date. It doesn't always have to be those 3 days. You can leave your positions open all year long if you like to get applications all year long. One thing though that is different, I need the title of the position to exactly match the title that you're putting on the checklist. Because at this point, I can't look it up by student, I have to look it up by job title. So when they don't match, then I'm not able to find it. Just make sure that, like Kristen said, you can have those applications sent to you singularly every time someone applies, or you can get the whole packet at the end. And then right now, the Handshake, the interview feature isn't up and running yet. So you can set aside time to email them and have your Zoom calls or your other types of interviews. But we are working on getting that up and running for you so that you can do it through Handshake, which is right now, it's not available. Also, the employment checklist, most of you all have this brand new one. Please make sure that you are using the new one that has all the correct information. You always want to use the new one because it has the payroll schedule on that second page. And that just helps the students understand when they're paid. And it just helps them with their rights and responsibilities. Did you all have any questions about that? Sorry, I always do that part.
I have a question, Jay, and I think
Yes.
I know the answer, but I would love to hear from you. The students that we're bringing back, do we just have them click rehire when they're submitting their checklist again, or is some positions ongoing and they don't end type deal?
Right. So anyone that you had that was not work study, their position didn't end and it's just ongoing. If they did have work study, but they worked over the summer, you will have to submit a new checklist. And always it's a new hire. So you'll see that on the checklist that there's different options now. You're always going to check something in that first box, either they're a new hire or rehire.
Okay, so you said even if they're coming back, still put new hire? I'm sorry.
You would put rehire.
Rehire, okay.
Mhm.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Wait, a lot. I got one more. If we don't know if they have federal work study or it ran out type, can we just email you the names and you will be able to let us know? Because I know sometimes it switches over, like if they exhausted. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So before they're hired, I cannot tell you if they have work
Okay,
study or
okay,
not.
yeah.
But when you get this checklist back, because I always send it to your business manager as well as the supervisor, at the bottom where it says federal work study, there's always a dollar amount. And then right above that, I'll usually write in how many hours that equals based
Okay.
on the current pay rate. So
Okay.
you know that for the entire academic year, they have 291 hours that they can work with work study.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And just a point of clarification of something else that we have noticed in Handshake, students in their building their profile, they can select if they have work study or not, but some students are confused about what their status is. So definitely verifying through the checklist process is going to be the definite answer, because again, I think sometimes students will check a box and not be entirely sure what that means, but that is part of the student profile option in terms of what information they can input into Handshake. But again, Jay and Jay's office would be the gold standard of getting that information. All right, so we've gone through a little bit about Handshake, how to get started, how to post a job, what to do when you're ready to hire or rehire. And now kind of staying connected in the system, and my shameless plug here for the Foot in the Door Fair. We'll talk a little bit about that. So as I mentioned, the Foot in the Door Fair is set for the 25th. So Thursday, August 25th from 3 to 5 in the Union. There are details in Handshake on how to get registered. And one of the pieces, once you've created your employer account and you are under the University of Illinois Springfield student employment. And I know I keep saying that full out, but just trying to be really clear what the employer name should be. You can register for the event and connect with your division. So the same employer can register multiple times for the event to have a table for your specific area. So when you go to register, that option where it says register another division will be what you'd want to select, because we do already have some folks that are under that student employment umbrella that have registered. So making sure to connect it to your particular area. And if you don't see your area as a division option, please let Jay or myself know, and we can add that into the system so that comes up as an option. And that one of the interesting things, again, that we're still learning about the system is that this division piece can only be tied to job postings or event registration. So it's not tied to you as a person and your account, but as you post a job, you can select a division for that to be tied to, so you can sort that way. Or if you're registering an event, you can select it to a division. But again, it's connected to events and job postings and not people, which is interesting. So that is a little bit about that. And now we just want to open the floor for some any additional questions or discussion.
So out of curiosity, how are people finding their navigation of the system? I can tell that some of you have navigated through it. How are you finding the navigation? Are you able to find what you're looking for? Should we be providing some resources for contact, or are you able to find the resources you need? I'm just curious.
In full transparency, I haven't gone into it yet. So I was waiting until this. So I have a different update for you all, and I can share that via email at a different time.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, well, if you are all new to the party, which is perfectly fine, as things unfold, we're happy to answer questions.
Yes, absolutely. Again, and that is one of the best learning tools we have with the new system, is kind of responding to questions, trying to understand those different pieces. Yes, we can send that out. We can send that out after the session. Absolutely.
Also in production is a one-page primer to kind of go along with this program, and we will be sharing that with everyone as well. I anticipate that'll be done in the next day or so, and so we'll provide that as well as a way for navigating Handshake as well.
Any other questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas? Yes, we are planning to post the recording. We'll probably upload it to our YouTube channel and then be able to share that link out, and we can share with everyone that's registered today, and we'll find a place to house it. Any other final thoughts? Well, thank you all for joining us, for going on this learning journey with us. and again, we'll be continuing to roll out more resources as we continue on. We will be putting out more information about the Foot in the Door Fair as well, but if your area is interested in that, we have had a lot of interest from external employers, so we're trying to hold spaces to make sure we have space for our campus folks, but you gotta get it while it's hot. They're going fast. So